In Argentina, a 62nd Mercosur summit took place in order to consolidate the use of a common currency. In Trinidad and Tobago, the 45th CARICOM Summit of Heads of Government moved forward with working sessions addressing climate change, food security, and economic cooperation. And during the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, Chinese President Xi Jinping called for the strengthening of ties to better resist Western illegal sanctions. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Argentina, Brazilian President Luis Ignacio da Silva took over the pro-tempore presidency of Mercosur from his Argentine counterpart Alberto Fernandez. Media reports state that the expectations of these 6 months of Lula's administration in Mercosur focus on achieving a free trade agreement with the European Union. According to Brazilian government officials, the government is already in the process of finalizing the agreement to be presented at the Iguazu Forum and then taken to the European bloc. In addition to this commitment, Mercosur also has pending negotiations with Singapore, Canada, Indonesia, and Vietnam, common strategies with the Dominican Republic, as well as the completion of Bolivia's Mercosur membership.
During this semester, steps have been taken to strengthen regional cooperation and promote social inclusion in our countries. We also convey our best wishes to the incoming presidency of Brazil. We are sure that under the leadership of Brother Lula and guided by his vision of integration, Mercosur will continue to move forward to respond to the enormous challenges of our times. Thank you very much.
Argentine President Alberto Fernandez insisted on the need for the countries of the region to complement their potential and strengthen their economies.
There are productive realities that complement, transform, and boost one another. I'm talking about giving value to what we are and to what we can become. I'm talking about being part of a world with developing economic forces and not with the weakness of those being primarized. No one can force us to be in raw material suppliers, so others develop their industry and then sell the product back to us at ridiculously high prices. Such unaware vision could lead some to think that in this way we will never reach the free trade standards some partners expect.
Brazil's President Luis Ignacio da Silva said Mercosur will have the challenge of setting up a more democratic and participatory mechanism.
I'm convinced that the construction of a more democratic and participatory Mercosur is the path we must follow. Dear Alberto Fernandez, I would like to thank the efforts of your team that led Mercosur during the semester that is now coming to an end. The Argentinian presidency sought to deepen the similarities and reduce the asymmetries between the member states.
Ecuador's National Electoral Council began on Tuesday the printing of ballots for the early elections of August 20th, 2023. According to the National Electoral Council, a total of 39 billion ballots will be printed for the first round, corresponding to the Presidential National Assembly and provincial elections. On the other hand, the Institution for the Popular Consultation of the Yasuni detailed that around 13,200,000 ballots will be stamped. The National Electoral Council assured that in order to ratify the transparency of the voting, the electoral material will have security elements such as invisible ink with a reaction to ultraviolet light and highly complex structures that will allow the identification of hidden elements, which prevent photocopying or scanning of the printed elements. The 45th Summit of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community advances in Trinidad and Tobago with working sessions to deal with climate change, food security, and economic cooperation. Among the issues discussed at the meeting were the creation of a reform to build a global financial architecture and the creation of a general fund to deal with climate crisis. For her part, the Secretary General of CARICOM stressed that the role of the bloc in these 50 years of foundation is characterized by leading trade and diplomatic agreements with nations from different continents, as well as being part of the peace and dialogue policy of the entity. In Cuba, Prime Minister Manuel Marrero Cruz presided over the closing session of the first meeting of ministers and senior environmental authorities of the member countries of the Group of Seven plus China. The event, which took place in Havana, is the fourth high-level meeting held since Cuba assumed the pro-tempore presidency of this international organization. The main objectives of the meeting were to promote dialogue and cooperation on important environmental issues, such as the promotion of development, and to foster unity in the materialization of projects from the South. In this regard, Marrero Cruz stated that climate change is a reality to which the countries of the South are more vulnerable.
We, poor countries, have to seek autonomy, develop our own technologies, seek our own solutions to our own problems, and that is the way forward. And for this, unity among all of us is what will make us stronger and will allow us to move forward, holding hands, all together, in the search for a better world. And as we have already said, that better world is possible.
And Cuba's Deputy Prime Minister Ines Maria Chapman said that nations have a moral commitment to the new generation's environmental matters.
The moral commitment with the new and future generations forces us to speak responsibly and coherently before the environmental urgencies that affect us. Here we have talked about these issues. The confrontation of such challenges is urgent, aware that in the unity of our group lies the success of our struggles. We stress our will to act immediately for a healthy and sustainable world. We can all achieve it. Cuba acts and works with this objective.
Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the South. China's President Xi Jinping urged the leaders of Russia, Iran, and other Shanghai Alliance states on Tuesday to boost ties and resist sanctions, as Vladimir Putin thanked the bloc for support during a failed rebellion. China and Russia have in recent years ramped up economic cooperation and diplomatic contacts. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization encompasses a vast stretch of the globe from Moscow to Beijing and includes around half the world's population when observer and dialogue partners nations are included. During the virtual meeting, the Chinese president called for efforts to safeguard regional peace and ensure common security, adding that he urged SCO member states to enhance their solidarity. For his part, the Russian President Vladimir Putin, speaking via video link at the meeting, thanked the Beijing headquarters SCO for its support. During his participation in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, President Xi Jinping expressed his willingness to share new development opportunities with the members of the Shanghai Cooperation.
China hopes to share new development opportunities with SCO members and all countries in the world through its achievements in modernization and together make the world a better and fair place. The cause finds great support and a journey with many companions coming far. The development of SCO is in accordance with the trend of our time and goes along with the direction of human progress. Through our joint efforts, it will definitely grow more and more.
The Chinese president also affirmed that he is ready to start implementing the Global Development Initiative.
China is willing to work with different parties to implement the Global Development Initiative, persist in the correct direction of economic globalization, oppose protectionism, unilateral sanctions and the extension of national security concepts, oppose building walls and ramparts, and decoupling and cutting ties, strive to expand the cake of mutually beneficial cooperation so that the fruits of development can greatly benefit the people of all countries more equitably.
The President of China, Xi Jinping, extended an invitation to all parties to participate in the Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation.
10 years ago, I proposed the Belt and Road Initiative, and on its 10th anniversary, China will hold the third and Belt Road Forum for International Cooperation. We welcome all parties to participate in the forum and jointly expand the Belt and Road as a road to happiness that benefits the whole world.
And during his participation in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, Russian President Vladimir Putin stressed the mechanism's commitment to the formation of a truly just and multipolar world order.
We consider it important that all members of the organization agree on their assessment of the situation in world politics, security, social, and economic spheres. At the same time, our organization is firmly committed to the formation of a truly just and multipolar world order based on international law, on the generally recognized principles of mutually respectful cooperation of sovereign states, with the central and coordinating role of the United Nations.
The Russian head of state warned that the debt accumulation of developed countries will spark a global economic crisis.
Geopolitical contradictions are getting sharper. The degradation of the international security system continues. The risk of a new global economic and financial crisis are increasing against the background of the uncontrolled accumulation of debts of developed countries, social stratification, and rising poverty around the world.
Russia's president announced that Western powers supplied arms to neo-Nazi groups in Ukraine to foment conflict with Moscow.
For a long time, external forces have implemented a project outside our borders to make our neighboring country, Ukraine, practically a hostile state anti-Russia. It was pumped up with weapons for 8 years. They condoned aggression against the civilian population of Donbass and indulged in every possible way to plant the neo-Nazi ideology. And all this in order to jeopardize the security of Russia and hold back the development of our country.
The Russian president stressed that the country is waging a hybrid war, which among other actions includes the imposition of unilateral sanctions on the country.
Right now, we're basically being waged a hybrid war. Illegitimate anti-Russian sanctions are being used on an unprecedented scale. I would like to emphasize that Russia is confidently resisting and will continue to resist external pressure, sanctions, and provocations. And in the current situation, our country continues to develop steadily.
Russian President Vladimir Putin also indicated that Iran became a full member of the group after fulfilling the required procedure.
Will now participate in our organization in a fully fledged format. And I want to sincerely congratulate you on this and sincerely greet the President of Iran, Mr. Raisi. In less than 2 years, the Iranian partners have completed all the necessary procedures, and now our common task is to help our colleagues to effectively integrate into the multifaceted work being carried out within the framework of the Shanghai Organization. Russia also stands for the speedy completion of the process of accession to the SCO of the Republic of Belarus.
Russia's Rosenergoatom company warned on Tuesday that Ukraine plans to attack the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant on the night of July 5th with precision-guided weapons and suicide drones. The warning was made by the company's advisor, Renat Karsha, on the Russia 24 TV channel, who said Kiev plans to drop from an aircraft ammunition loaded with radioactive waste removed on July 3rd from the South Ukrainian nuclear power plant. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, the largest in Europe, is located near the city of Energodar and has remained under Russian military control since March 2022. The Russian Foreign Ministry says that military presence at the plant, which had been operated by Energoatom before Russia, announced the incorporation of Zaporizhzhia province at the end of the last September, is aimed at preventing leakage of nuclear and radioactive materials. The chief of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, expressed in Japan his concern about an attack on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and urged those responsible for its security to do their most to avoid a tragic radiological accident.
Formulated a very strong appeal at the Security Council, and I reiterated here today in Tokyo, that a nuclear power plant should never be attacked. And a nuclear power plant should never be used as a military base. So, yes, we are concerned, but we are present. We know what needs to be done to avoid a nuclear accident, and we hope that all those who have the responsibilities will act according to that and spare us all a tragic radiological accident over there.
teleSUR English launched its own videos on demand site for you to go and revisit their interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Just go to the top left corner in our website homepage and click on the video option to access our VOD platform. Now we will have a short break. Don't go away. Welcome back from the South. The head of the UN Nuclear Agency met on Tuesday in Japan with government leaders over the release of treated radioactive wastewater into the sea from the Fukushima nuclear plant. The International Atomic Energy Agency head Rafael Mariano Grossi met late Tuesday with Prime Minister Fumio Kishida to submit the agency's final report on the water release. All of the agency's interim evaluations had been positive, and the final report is expected to say that the water sampling, testing, and monitoring plans involved in the release are adequate and fulfill international requirements. At a joint news conference after meeting with Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi, Grossi said the report sums up the agency's work over the past 2 years, and handing it to Prime Minister Kishida marks an important chapter.
The work on the Fukushima nuclear power plant and the commissioning, reconstruction, and the work following the accident has been there since the very beginning. This time, on an important chapter, I will have the honor to deliver this afternoon the assessment, the comprehensive assessment that the agency has been working on for more than 2 years of the plant related to the treated water around the nuclear power plant. We will be discussing this as well.
Director General Mr. Grossi plans to visit TEPCO's Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant tomorrow. I reiterate my gratitude to IAEA's impartial and professional efforts on the review from the safety and regulatory aspects. As for the safety of ocean discharge of ALPS treated water, Japan will continue providing detailed explanations to the international community based on scientific evidence and with high degree of transparency.
On Tuesday, a fighter jet was shot down in Khartoum, where clashes and artillery fire targeted several neighborhoods in Sudan's war-torn capital. Witnesses said the Rapid Support Forces said they had arrested the pilot after he landed, in a statement also accusing the army of heinous massacres in the Khartoum region. Violent clashes using several types of weapons have been reported by residents on Tuesday, including airstrikes near the state television building and clashes with machine guns. The Sudanese army, led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has been at war since April 15th with the paramilitaries of the Rapid Support Forces, led by its former number 2, General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo. The conflict has killed nearly 3,000 people, according to NGO OCLED, and 2.8 million displaced persons and refugees, according to the UN. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared the end of the operation of the occupation forces in the Palestinian city of Jenin amid strong international condemnation. Israeli security officials confirmed that the occupation forces had begun to withdraw, but the operation was compromised due to the fighting with Palestinian factions. Israel attacked the city under the pretext of dealing with the presence of suspected terrorist groups, targeting multiple civilian structures. Large military bulldozers tore through alleyways, leaving a severe damage to roads and buildings, and thousands of residents fled the city after basic services such as electricity and water were cut off. The operation left at least 12 dead and thousands of displaced. Prime Minister Netanyahu threatened with new military offensives. Thousands of Yemenis rallied in the capital to protest against the Israeli military operation in the West Bank city of Jenin and the burning of the Quran outside the Stockholm mosque. The Protesters gathered at the Sana Asbab al-Yemen Square, where they burned Israeli and U.S. flags. On the other hand, the demonstration's organizing committee issued a statement blaming the United States for its support of Israel in committing its acts of violence and assured that the enemy would once again regret its aggression. The text also praised the heroic response of the Palestinian resistance and expressed Yemen's full willingness to participate in the struggle against Zionism and the liberation of the entire Palestinian land. The organizers called on the region to boycott Swedish, US, and Israeli products and to break diplomatic relations with them.
We are rallying today to denounce the burning and desecration of the Holy Quran in Sweden and also to support our brothers in Palestine. The Palestinian cause is our cause.
The Yemeni people took the streets to announce to the whole world that whoever burns the Quran will have his soul ripped out of his body. The Yemeni people will not allow any person to mock the Book of God or make fun of the most sacred sanctuaries of Muslims.
We have come to the end of this news program. You can find these and many other stories on our website, telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.